Good afternoon to all of you who are here today. I want to begin by acknowledging the presence of Dame Marguerite Pindling, who is the widow of Sir Lyndon Pindling, who led us Yeah, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to you that 56 years ago, that I stood help me Jesus. I stood in front of polling division number 2 in Motion Town, the second of the lot before this, whatever this is, gets underway. Let me set the record straight. There was a man called Lyndon Pindling who walked, talked, didn't know a thing about South Andros until I had to go and tell the people that he was coming to run against Cyril Stevenson. Because if we hadn't put Pindling there, Stevenson would have won. Pray for me, please. Because I'm feeling very, very something today. I don't like what I see. Because nothing happened until Pindling came on the scene. And I thank you for coming out today, but the leadership are so excited, they forgot I existed. But I just want to let you know I'm alive, doing well, of sound mind, and in good health, and waiting for all that is going to take place, because I do not like it, and I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell. I'm sorry, I cannot contain it any longer, because you're using this as a stepping stone, and I do not appreciate it.
We still love Pindling, you know. And he's a great
I
man.
should hope so.
We do love him.
Because we're standing on his shoulders, and the other men who fought with him in the trenches. When the House of Assembly was dissolved in 1966, Pindling was in London fighting the PLP's battle. When nomination day came, Pindling wasn't even in the country to be nominated. I had documents prepared in case the magistrate decided not to accept his name in his absence. Then I was ready with Cecil Wallace Whitfield, who's the then chairman of this party, who took me down to South Andros. But thanks be to God, the magistrate said it was okay, they would accept him in his absence. And I come here today in respect out of the work that my husband has done, along with his other fellow workers in this country. And I don't want anyone to use this to play him cheap, because I will not stand for it. I'm sorry, Mr. Prime Minister, I promise you I was going to behave. But I think you all should know who I am by now. And you owe me an apology, and I expect, Mr. Chairman, right now.
We love you. We love you, Miss Pindling. And we love your husband. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you. Acknowledge the presence of Dame Marguerite Pindling and all of you who have come today. Dame Marguerite, a new generation of Bahamians are here today who were not here a year ago, who were not here when this momentous occasion took place. And if any apology is due, it's due because of the goodness of our heart. It's due because we wanted to pay tribute to your husband.
Yes, sir.
And it's due because we wanted to move with a quick pace to ensure that that memory is etched in the minds and the collective history of our country.
Yes, sir. Come on.
No disrespect to you.
That's right.
We all are here to support you today. You remember when it was just you and I standing up here alone in this graveyard. It makes a difference to be in government. And our Prime Minister led us to a victory. So we are here in government today, 1 year later, much better off than we were a year ago.
Yes. Yes.
I thank you for allowing this ceremony to go forward, and know that in our hearts, we love you, we support you. We will do everything to ensure that Lyndon Pindling's memory is etched, his contributions are etched in the history of this country.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have two leaders of the opposition in this yard today. And Senator Griffin started off by saying PLP all the way. I'm sure they weren't saying all the way. But the fact is they're here today. They weren't here a year ago. So this is a ceremony uniting all of us as
Yes.
Bahamians.
Yes.
The poet says, we have promises to keep and miles to go before we sleep. There's a lot more which has to be done. So we're here today to honor a great man and a great contribution to the development of our country. In 1969, Sir Lyndon Pindling and his men lowered the voting age of this country from 21 to 18. In 1973, he and his colleagues led the country to national independence. And they all recalled on that occasion the Burma Road riots of 1942 and all those men and women who led the social struggle way back in 1942. We remember Sir Henry Taylor and his colleagues who decided to form the People's Movement in 1953. I want to acknowledge the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Perry Christie. It was his government that brought about this national holiday. And that act was signed by Sir Arthur Folkes, who describes this day as the most important day in the history of our country since the emancipation of slavery. I want to thank the National Heroes Committee and all those people who worked and struggled to make this holiday possible. And on the 1st of February, we'll be sending out notices for those people who should be nominated for national honors, Bahamian honors, because this is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I want to remember the Honorable Arthur Hanna, who in 1967 said there was a strike against the hotels at Paradise Island. And the owners of Paradise Island came to him, this is now shortly after the 1967 election, and said if the government then did not stop the strike, that they would close the hotel down. And Arthur Hanna said to him, well, close the hotel down. But the hotel is still open. And our Prime Minister, who is the successor to Lyndon Pindling, did a brave and courageous thing last week. Some people pulled the same trick, laid off 20 people. He said that morning, this must be reversed. And the next morning, it was reversed.
Yeah.
We remember 1969, Sir Lyndon Pindling in Freeport talked about the unbending social order. Said that if it did not bend, it would be broken. And that's what I said to this generation of leaders before us, that sometimes change is painful. Taking a stand is painful. But if this country is worth anything, what did Sir Lyndon say? If you can't fight for the country, then you don't deserve to have it.
Yes, sir.
So we're fighting for the country today in that tradition. Sidney Poitier died a year ago on the 6th of January. And over the last weekend and the weekend before, both ZNS and 212 Rev Television have been showing the films. And this morning, I was watching To Sir with Love. And I remember the first time I saw the film. You know how Bahamians walk, right? Bahamians have a particular walk. And when you see Sidney stride across the movie screen, all you could say is, that's a Bahamian. That's a Bahamian. So we've made our contribution. And this generation coming up is going to make greater and greater contributions to the development of our country. I gotta say this. 1969, the first building that the Progressive Liberal Party put up after it became the government was the post office building at the top of Parliament Street. 9 stories. That building has been torn down. And some of the youngsters were saying, well, you need to have buildings, markers for the progress you've made. So that's why we can put a Parliament building at the top of the hill there in Victoria Gardens, because that building should never have come down. And it can't be that the U.S. Embassy is the marker of the Nassau skyline.
Never.
We've been sitting in that Parliament building since 1815. There are rats running around in it. You can smell dead rats every time you're in it. So 1815 to now. So we have, what does the poet say? We have promises to keep and miles to go before we sleep. So Dame Marguerite, I say again, we love you. We do. I'll give you kisses right now. But thank you for coming and thank you for supporting this. It's my privilege then to welcome you all on behalf of the Progressive Liberal Party. But as I said, there's more than us here today. And so we all as Bahamians embrace this day.
Yes, sir.
And I thank you all for coming. It's wonderful 1 year later. Bradley Kemp, our vice chair, said, where did all the people come from? They came because they're here celebrating a great man
Yes.
and a great day. So God bless you all and thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well said.
Thank you, Chairman Mitchell. I'm going to go off script a little bit and thank Dame Marguerite for her interjection